starting slightly earlier today to make sure I don't make giant globs of nothing again, and so that I also have time to actually crumple up the mylar instead of giving up halfway through. Actually making the dice correctly would be a good idea if I can, right? Last time, as you may be able to see, the dice actually came out quite pretty. Just making sure my stream's actually working, because all I see is a black screen right now. 1 second. Hello. Words, words, words. Just making sure it's actually doing stuff. Words, words, words. Just making sure it's actually doing stuff. Alright, seems fine. Alright, like I was saying, going to try to just be doing this a little bit quicker than last time so that I can actually put the mylar out. Because the dice, I don't know if you can tell in this light, but they turned out quite nice. Very galaxy, very cool. Very happy with the way that they turned out. The little clouds and stuff inside, chef's kiss. It's so lame to actually say the word chef kiss out loud. Holy shit. Anyway, I want to try these again, but with more of a fiery vibe, because... because that's kind of the vibe I was trying to go for with these fireball dice initially, which just turned out orange and stupid. So I'm going to try to kind of get this kind of vibe going, but with some more flame-like colors, make a bit of a flame galaxy out of it. So to do that, I've changed some of the colors around, which you get to see in a little bit, but it's not time to mix them just yet, I think. I'm trying to remember when it mixed last time, but I don't think it's time yet. So, got some mylar. Somewhere over the rainbow. Here they are. And I'm just going to try to cut these down quite small. I'm going to need like 20 or 30 of these things. And then I'll have them ready to go this time instead of trying to do them as I'm doing stuff. Whatever I can make in like 7 or 8 minutes is how many I'll have. So I'm going to get some scissors from fucking somewhere. You'd think I would keep this stuff around, knowing that I was about to do it, but no, that would just be too easy, huh? That's okay. I found it. The entire audience of me and me alone no longer needs to be. Does that even work? I don't even know if that works. Anyway, I don't have time to think about that too much. I'm gonna grab a bunch of this mylar out. I'm gonna cut it down small, and then we're just gonna crumple it up. It's nothing fancy to actually do this correctly. You just kind of want to get a bunch of crumples. If you put too much mylar in, you'll even end up getting voids in your dice, so the smaller you can get them, the better, to be honest. I sometimes put a whole bunch in, and I oftentimes regret it, because I do get some really pretty dice out of it, but I usually only get like half my mold actually like going if I put in a whole bunch. The mylar isn't really the focus of the set of dice, it's just an accent to them, so it's totally fine to just have a little bit in a small little crumple as opposed to like trying to get like a huge big pearlescent kind of effect. So just whatever you can to crumple it all up is all fine in this case. Like, even these are probably a bit too big, but honestly, I do like erring the side of them being big, so I'm going to let that happen to some extent, as long as I can crumple them down enough that I don't think that they're going to basically pop back up. And this time, I'll actually try to remember to use a lighter on the top to break the surface tension too. It's something I often forget to do, because it's not usually super relevant, but my new master mold seems to have a bit of an issue in one spot where bubbles are more likely to form, so it'd be a good idea to take that extra step. If I wasn't making this style of dice, I'd even grab my heat gun, except I think the heat gun for this style of dice will end up causing them to be a bit too too mixed together. We really want those distinct kind of colors, not a bunch of stuff that's easily meldable, especially since a couple of the colors this time will be a bit closer than last time. Also, I actually wrote down notes on how to make the dice this time. So I know that I'll be using glitter, 5 drops of peacock blue, which is a different blue than the purple we used last time. It's more of a kind of gem-like blue that I quite enjoy. Then we'll be using a second color, which will be 1 to 2 drops of that original violet we used before. Then we'll be using 2 drops of red. The red is quite strong, so 2 drops should be enough for anything you want to do. And then I want to do something with 3 or 4 drops of yellow and 3 drops of white. So the kind of pink clouds you see here, I want to make those be yellow. I want like a big blue to purple to red to yellow gradient. So it looks kind of like a galaxy, but maybe like, you know, the fires of the sun are starting to burn out. The yellow heat's kind of like going across the galaxy, right? That's kind of the idea. If we can get something even vaguely like that, I'll be pretty happy with that. Hopefully I can make enough mylar in time. I do see that I am hitting the clock a little hard here. I think it says at the top, but I have pre-mixed this by about like 10-20 minutes, so I've got about 10-15 minutes before I want to start actually making the dice, or I'll just end up with 2 big bricks, and I only have so much money and so much resin, so I can't particularly afford that. I'm already overdoing the resin for what should be a test. Instead of just making 1 set of dice, I'm making like 5 sets of dice at once, which is stupid to do at this scale. But I have 5 molds, and I feel like if I have 5 molds, I want to cast 5 molds, right? But yeah, this should go pretty well, I'm hoping. And if this doesn't go well, the thing this will do is it'll prove to me that these Fanzarachi colors are the issue. Because last time was the first time in a while that I had remembered to use Pinata colors, which I do know are a better alcohol ink. The Fanzarachi are just like some knockoff like Chinese brand that they sell on Amazon pretending to be a more expensive brand. So there is every chance that those colors aren't alcohol ink and they're actually a dye. I've used them before in ways that make me think that they are alcohol ink, but, you know, I have about 2 brain cells, I could be tricked. So, if these don't turn out with a similar quality to these, we're gonna say that those Fanzarachi ones probably should not be used by themselves to make mixed dice, unless you're gonna cure between colors. And if they do work out, then I've proven that they're fine, and it's just been me. I am the big dum-dum. I'm gonna guess I'm the big dum-dum. As always, I tend to take blame for stuff like that. But, you know, it might be them. And I'm hoping it's not them, because if it is them, I'm about to waste a lot of resin, since I don't think I'm using a single Pinata color apart from white today. I'm using nothing but their brand of alcohol ink so that I know that there's no, like, confusion. I'm gonna put all these Mylar flakes back. I'm not gonna be able to do these ones. I think I'll have enough. You know, I've got, like, maybe 5 minutes if I really want to push my luck to kind of just crumple up what I've got remaining here, and then we can start making stuff. If there's not quite enough to actually put in the dice, then so be it. I'd rather have dice and not enough Mylar than have enough Mylar but not enough time to make the dice. Last time I pushed it quite to the edge, and I do have some notes showing when I wanted to put stuff away. So I think I will have time, because last time I lost about 5 minutes to trying to make the Mylar after pouring, and this time I'm going to be able to put the Mylar in straight away, so I think it's going to work out. I have about 10 minutes. Within that 10 minutes, I do need to divide the colors up, so I want to get cracking on this. Pretty much anything I don't have crumpled up in the next 5 minutes is just going to be stuff that won't end up going in the dice. I cannot be bothered counting how many I need for all of my dice, so it's just going to be a guessing game on if I have enough. Again, these aren't the main component, these are just a nice component to have. Many of these dice here don't have a piece of mylar in them, and they look perfectly good. So the mylar is just there. It's a little improvement, it just adds a little bit of flair, a little bit of touch. If you don't know what mylar looks like in a pair of dice, you can kind of see... Nope. You can kind of see... Nope. You can kind of see in this one, probably. I imagine... I can't even see it on the screen, so I have no idea if you can see it or not. There we go. You see how there's like that... Of course, it wasn't on the camera. Of course it wasn't. That should have been on the camera there, though. You see those kinds of glittery colors that show up, I hope? I can't see them on the camera, so maybe you can't. But those kind of pearlescent things that you see just kind of glazing. One, they're much more powerful in real life, and you can see them very clearly. And two, what the mylar does. If you've ever had dice that have that really cool, how do they get this really colorful, shiny, like sparkly thing on the inside that looks like almost impossible to do, it's really easy. You just get cellophane and you crumple it up like this and it just turns into that. It is not nearly as high artisan art as it looks. Something I shouldn't say, because I do plan to sell these, but yeah, like, it's something anyone could do. Like, anyone that can kind of figure out a pressure pot. And I do think you need a pressure pot, to be real with you. But I think anyone that can figure out a pressure pot can figure out dice. If an idiot like me can do it, you can do it for sure. I am still hungover from last night, and it turned out the dice were fine anyway. Holy shit, did I crash out. I might play some more RimWorld later, I'm not sure yet. I'm still a little hungover, but I do like RimWorld, and I'd like to play without being too drunk to read the text. That'd be nice. Alright, so that seems to be all of these that I'm gonna get done today. I'm just gonna put them all on like a lid or something like that. This'll do. It seems like I'll have enough for a bunch of dice, at the very least, so that's cool. But we better get our colors mixed in, or we're not gonna have time. So, much like last time, we're dividing this into 1, 2, 3, and... was it 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. One of them's going to be the bulk of it, which is going to be peacock blue this time, and the other ones are going to be equal parts of a smaller amount. Just as an eyeball, I'm going to try to fill this one to maybe 60, because I just remembered these do actually have measurements on them. And then I'm going to try to fill the rest up to like maybe 30-ish and see if that works. If not, I can always change what I've poured. Honestly, I could do math. Like, I did have to measure this out to mix it, obviously. But that's fine. I can just guess. Guessing is fine. And 30 again. And as I thought, I probably should have measured, because I... definitely got that wrong. That's good. Oh. Just pour a little bit more in each one, really. Blah. 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 As long as they're relatively equal, it doesn't matter. Like, this part isn't the important part. The important part was the mixing. If anything, it's just important to make sure you have enough of the big one, really. All the other ones are just going to be accents to everything. Not yet. Didn't blow up yet. Maybe later. Alright, so peacock blue goes in the first one, and that was supposed to be 5 drops in glitter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna put 6 actually. And then I'm gonna chuck the glitter in, which I probably should have brought some sort of like actual mixy-dixy thing in. And that's fine, I can just use this, I guess. If I can actually get it out of the frickin' thing. Oh yeah, good enough. That's probably way too much glitter, but who gives a shit? Maybe I'll blow up this time, there's always hope. And that's already starting to feel warm, so hopefully that doesn't turn into a solid brick in my hand and burn me like it did the other night. Yeah, that's good enough. And it's got that kind of galaxy swirl from last night, which is reassuring. Hopefully everything else works out just as good. The other one was a drop or two of violet, and then just nothing else. Just something simple. Let's do one to start, and if that doesn't look dark enough, we'll do a second one, but we're not going to do any more than that. This isn't intended to be the main color of it. How much time do I have? 5 minutes before I have to start pouring. I am going way too slowly. And that wasn't enough violet, so there you go. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah, why not? Not be too picky with this, because I actually want to be able to pour it in time, and my time management isn't the best. Then I want 2 drops of red, 2 or 3. The red's really strong, so just be real careful with how much red you put in there. Nope. And try to use a stick that doesn't just have a bunch of shit on it. Again, I don't think that was enough. I'm going to end up overdoing the colors on these, because I don't think it's enough, but yeah, fuck it. As long as the yellow ends up being one of the stronger colors, which is a little hard to do, it should all be good. Alright, there we go. There's red. And then we have one more with the yellow to go, and then we're all good to start. Oh, he went away. Was he sad that I didn't explode? Maybe next time, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want this one to be quite pigmented. And the only way to do that is to just put a fuck ton of it in it, because it's yellow. It's not exactly the strongest color in the world. Oh, that proves that my chat feature doesn't work on OBS, actually. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. It worked the other day. Why didn't it work today? It's lucky I actually get the stream up, otherwise I wouldn't even have seen you here, man. Alright, and in terms of the actual colors, I want to put 3 drops of white on that. I think 3 drops was kind of the goal there. So 1, 2, and 3. And that should mix, hopefully, pretty good. Just like last time. Oh, that smells like a fruit. Don't eat that. But just like last time, the point of this is to get a bit of like a creamier kind of color that's gonna drop. I might even... one more in. Okay, that is not what I thought that was gonna be, sound-wise. I thought that was gonna be music. I'll just go back to the previous one again. There we go, good enough. Alright, we need to start pouring or I'm fucked. So, let's get ready with that. Alright, so, moving everything that's not related to actually making the dice out of the way, because I only have so much time, and I'm a minute early, unlike last time, which is nice. Just like last time, we are going to fill up the colors that we're going to use later into separate pipettes, just in advance. So the yellows, the reds, and the blues, not going to need it. And, as much as possible, we're going to try to get this all done fairly quickly. The quicker I can do this, the easier the rest of it's going to be for me. I'm actually going to move this, even though I would usually want to be using it. So I think I'm willing to make a bit of mess in return for getting these done. Again, you really shouldn't make 5 or 6 sets of dice at once. It's a little dumb. Also, there seems to be some color from last time that I thought I cleaned out of the molds that I didn't. But that's okay. For the most part, like, unless it's like a really different color, it's not a big deal. Okay, so we have these. I'm going to move this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this thing I've got to the side here as kind of where I squish the molds down before I put them on the doohickey wicky dicky licky. Those words in those order were not on purpose. Hopefully that's okay. Okay, so we're going to pour the blue as the base this time. You'll notice the literally no one that was ever here, since the only guy that's seen a previous stream left. You'll notice that this is much lighter than last time, so hopefully it still does get that kind of galaxy effect, but it's a little less likely than last time. Alexa, dismiss. Alexa, set a 20-minute timer.
20 minutes, starting now.
So again, I'm going to fill them up about a third of the way. In this case, it's actually a bit better to underfill than overfill, but it's okay if you do. Like when I was making the dice yesterday, I definitely overfilled a couple of them. So I'm just trying to avoid that where I can, since I know I'm not going to have to rush quite as much as last time. This is basically just the base color that you want everything else to rest against. That's the D20s, you gotta really be careful on not underfilling. Everything else can kind of just be whatever. And let's not get one of my beard hairs in the dice. That would suck. Right, looks like we might actually get this done in time. How about that? Oops, that was too much blue. Luckily, the top color doesn't need to be the base color, it's just sometimes convenient for that to be the case. I am going to cover this one with blue first, because this one is the one that's been having some issues with bubbles on the top. So I just want to get that covered as quickly as possible. And we'll deal with covering it with more later. Alright, so basically we want to start with the purple, go to the pink, and... oh, sorry, no we don't. We want to put the mylar in, don't we? So just one mylar for each one is enough. You know, it is honestly a bit better when you put more than one in, but we're trying to get a particular effect, and I don't want to be spending too much time on this part like I did last time. In fact, I'm going to not have enough mylar again, so thankfully we can kind of focus on putting mylar in the main sets, and whatever we've got left over we'll put in the other ones too. It'll be good. At some point, I guess I need to just make a bunch of mylar, because this seems like it's going to be a continuing issue. Hopefully there isn't one I forgot. I generally do forget at least one piece of mylar every time. They go kind of invisible when you put them in while you're making them, so it's very easy to forget, like, which ones you've done. It seems like I'll actually have enough for most of them. I think there might be a couple that I'll get some still, but better than last time. I'm also not spending like an inordinate amount of time doing it this time, which was an issue last time. Yeah, I won't have quite enough, but it was very close. Like 3 or 4 more and I would have done it. I don't think I'm going to try to make the 3 or 4. I'm just going to let the fact that 2 or 3 won't have it set. I say as I reach into the Mylar and see if there's anything small enough really quickly. No, it's just going to add too much pressure and time to stuff. We're just going to keep going. So we're going to do the purple first, and what we're going to do is we're going to use this as an excuse to push the Mylar in where we can before we start squeezing. Because this is something I can touch that isn't using my finger to push things down. You may notice this time, if anyone saw last time, that the Mylar this time is not sticking to the very top of the mold, which is good. That's what we wanted to be doing last time, but didn't do correctly. Alright, so now I'm going to start putting in the extra colors. So just kind of a push, push, push while you squeeze, and a push, push, push while you squeeze. And I'm just going to keep doing that for every dice we see. And when we run out, we just switch these, and we keep going. Squish, 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 squish. These colors aren't quite as dark, so I'm hoping this actually works out correctly, because that's not giving me as much hope as last time. But we'll see, we'll see. Squish, 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 squish. But yeah, last time kind of confirmed that it's a better idea to be using the pipettes to mix colors than not use them. It did seem a lot more successful in mixing the colors by pushing the color out from underneath than it is to pour them on top. Which makes sense. I mean, that's kind of how things like this work in general. My headband's running down my face. That's gonna be an issue. I can't actually touch it to put it back up, because otherwise I'll get resin in my hair, and then I'll just have to have less hair. I'm hoping the red colors it a bit, because this is looking a little less hopeful than the other one. But, you know, we have more colors to go, so no need to panic about it just yet. Luckily, it should be easier to get these all in time this time. They are getting hot, which is good. I actually want them to be hot. We want them to be just on the verge of being completely unusable and screwing up the entire cast. The closer they are to making the cast impossible, the better they'll actually look, because the less they'll mix with the previous color. So you may find that some of the colors at the end of this cast, where they've had a bit more time to set, end up actually being the dominant colors, where you would think that the first color would be the dominant color. Just by proxy of timing. But we won't know until we do it, and I'm quietly confident that these will go okay. You can always try fixing up some of the colors with some extra resin at the end if we want. Like, I'm sure the red, for instance, will be a bit more colorful. The red's quite a strong color. That's not where the red is. Oh, is that Fillion online? If anyone's here, go watch Fillion instead. Alright, this red was not, probably not colorful enough. I just want some pretty see-through dice, and that red can get opaque really quickly, but I might have underdone the color. That's okay. I actually really want the yellow to come through more than any other color in these dice if possible, so not the biggest deal. Like, these aren't a red dominant dice. The one thing I do like is I can see distinctly that there are colors, which isn't always the case when you try to do this stuff, so I do have some quiet confidence that this is working this time. Now, in terms of how much time I have left, not as much. But, you know, we're getting there. There's only just like one more color, so I think we'll actually be good. Last time I was able to cheat a little bit by just pouring some of the colors on, and I almost think that did work to some extent, but if I can get a bit less mixing this time, that would be just all the better. Especially in the final color. Like, I really want to see that yellow at the end. I'll be devastated if that yellow blends in. But yeah, I'm purposely trying not to like swirl it too much and just go up and down with the pipettes instead. Because I want there to be like little chunks of color and they will spread out as they go. So if I try to mix it all now, you're going to end up with an issue where you have like way too much color concentrated like in just a mix. And we actually want like things to look different. We want to see the differences. We don't want to have like just, oh, why didn't you just pour, you know, red and blue mixed together to begin with, you know? I'm talking loud enough. I'm probably not talking loud enough. But yeah, there we go. Halfway there. And we've got 8 minutes before kind of like the soft deadline, so we're going to be perfectly fine time-wise. We even have time to remember to go get the lighter, I think. I'm going to fill a couple of these up a bit more with a bit more red. In fact, I'm just going to pour some of the red on the top to save some time. I think pouring some on the top's even a good idea, so... There we go. Especially with you. Once again, I have underfilled the main big dice, which is exactly what I was myself saying you should try not to do. But here I am doing it anyway. I think I'm just about ready to start doing the yellow. I just want to make sure I get a bit more of that red on stuff. I think I underdid it just slightly. And I do have the extra time to be picky this time. I was racing the other 2 times, but this time I don't necessarily need to race. So if I can do a couple of extra things to just make things kind of more the way I'm looking for, all the better. Be real with you, most of the things I'm doing will probably look completely different by the time I'm done anyway. That's just the reality of once you get that lid on. But, you know, do your best, don't you? Alright, time for the yellow. I want to put quite a bit of that yellow in. I'm a little worried about how these dice are going to look now that the yellow's in there. We'll see. But yeah, the idea is to just kind of get those colors in there. Not mix them, not really disturb them too much, just get them in there. Ironically, unlike normal, the yellow is going to be one of the most opaque colors in the set, which is usually not the case, so it'll be funny to see how this turns out. It looks like they're not going to turn out quite the way that I thought they would. Maybe red needed to be the base color, but I just thought like going from blue to purple to red to yellow would be a good idea. We'll find out if that was true when the dice are finished, huh? But yeah, it's getting nice and thick now, which is good. This is the reason I did the yellow last, so it'd have the most chance of actually staying in place, because this is the color that you most want to be distributed. This is like the cloud. I really like cloud dice, and this is kind of an extension of that technique. Shout out to Dreamy Dice for making me love cloud techniques. I shout her out a lot. And that's fine. Yeah, these will need some like red poured on them or something, I think. But yeah, we're just about done this time. Actually in time as well, not over time. Go me, my time management actually was okay. But yeah, I'm basically just hitting all four corners of these square dice, just so I remember to get enough yellow in there. And I would pour it over with blue, but we don't really have any blue left, so we're gonna see what colors we have. Probably pour it over with the red, I think. Or the purple, actually. I have a lot more of that purple than I thought I would have. I guess I didn't put much in. Maybe I'll put purple on the top. Yeah, purple would actually be good, probably. And then I'll put red on the actual mold tops. You know what? I think these are going to look pretty good. I was a little iffy on them about halfway through, but I think overall they're going to look fine. And I'm just going to have to play that back again, because, again, really thought that would be music. Well, and now it's nothing. Come on. There you go. Alright, we're going to use purple as the top. Just a little bit of an extra reassurance that there's enough resin, basically, in each one. So we're not trying to pour it too quickly. In fact, I was pouring it too quickly there. We just want some there. And it'll help some of the colors spread out a bit under it as well, hopefully without merging them. Because the last thing we want to do is merge them underneath. But we do need a bit of extra resin in these slots. They're not quite full. And I would very much prefer to overfill a mold than underfill one. Super preferable to be overfilling rather than underfilling. If you want voids, underfilling is how you get voids. If you just want to, you know, use a small lip on your stuff so that, you know, you don't get a mess, then, you know, fill them fucking normally. Alright. Just gonna put a little bit of red on the top of these. Oh, that's getting quite thick. We gotta hurry up a little bit. Because we do want to actually get some of this onto the top of the molds as well. You especially need color, so let's get you going. And what we're going to do is now we're going to cover the molds as much as possible. We might have to use our fingers just for speed purposes. Usually, as always, I would say do not touch resin with your hands. It's not as bad as people think it is, but you still really shouldn't do it. And we're going to get a bunch of that red on here as well if we can, because this mold is quite important. And rather than trying to get them all closed straight away, we're actually just going to try to get all the lids covered first, and then we can deal with the ramifications of everything else afterwards. Two of the most important ones to get covered correctly are the two main dice molds, so they're the first ones I'm going to try to cover. And the one I'm going to least try to cover, I guess, are the D6s. They should all be covered, but some of them are slightly more important than others. George Orwell, all pigs are equal, but some pigs are more equal than others. Something like that, right? Yeah, just about. So that one is fine. Like, none of these are necessarily okay. I actually should probably either pour more resin next time, or make one less of the dice, because it seems like what I'm pouring is enough to make the dice themselves, but not, even if I wasn't doing this late into the process, I think for the most part I'm not actually making enough resin to be covering the caps the way I would like. We'll probably get this to work out, but next time we'll definitely be trying. Especially on this mold in the middle, it's not nearly quite enough. Now, having said that, I do have a lot of the yellow, so it's probably going to be fine, actually. It's very easy to panic at this last stage, because there's only so much time while the resin still moves. like, once we've got everything spread out, it doesn't matter so much if we take a little bit longer than we should. But, you know, we need the resin to be malleable enough to move around while we can. So, just pour whatever we've got left on here. I'm going to try not to pour too much of this, just because it is a bit of a thing. But we do need some resin at the top, so. Now, I was going to say I should go get a lighter to pop the bubbles, but I think I'm going to end up just a little bit out of time if I try that. Did I have anything else I need to do apart from that? Alexa, shut the fuck up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 molds. 1, 2, 3... Alexa, shut up. Oh, I know what I'm forgetting. I have another whole fucking mold over here. That's not good. Hopefully, I've given myself enough time to get this out. Yeah, it seems like only just. We do want to get these in the pressure pot quite quickly now, because they're getting really hot. I'm burning myself every time I touch it. Which means I don't necessarily have all the time in the world to get rid of the bubbles, because the bubbles won't go away if they're there because the resin's set before I get it in. We'll see. We'll see. I am going to really dumbly get a lighter. And the stream will probably end here, but I'm not going to have time to actually turn the stream off, so you're just going to see a blank area and hear some sounds for a little bit. Because I'm going to need the time it would take to turn the stream off to actually finish the dice. So, sucks to be you if you're here. But yeah, basically the heat of this just pops any surface tension, which helps pop bubbles. A lot of these bubbles wouldn't end up in the final cast anyway, but I did get 1 or 2 bubbles in the previous set of dice, so just want to be safe rather than sorry. Alright, so I'm gonna pretend that I didn't just burn the mold there. I didn't even know you could do that. I guess the alcohol ink, yeah. Whoops. So yeah, don't have time to turn the stream off, so you're just gonna look at this blank screen for a while if you're here. Whoopsie doopsie. And hopefully a bunch of carbon doesn't get put into my colors in this mold. That's actually quite a bad thing to have happened right there. But yeah, should be in this direction, I believe. Alright, yeah. Alright. So when you're pushing molds down, you try not to put any pressure on them if you can help it. You just kind of wiggle them into place, and they should kind of just do their own thing. You want resin to be coming out the sides. If it's not, you might have a bit of a problem. Not a lot of resin coming out of the sides of this, so I might have a problem. But too late to care about that. This one is a bunch of D4s, which I believe is this one. Yep. Alright. So, let's just get that down as well. And just let that one fall into place. This one has quite a heavy lid, so it's really hard to fuck this one up. You actually can push down on this one just because the lid is so heavy. And yeah, hopefully I haven't introduced any bubbles in these, because these look like they're going to come out pretty cool. Definitely not Fire Galaxy. I was going for Fire Galaxy, but I think these are more interesting than my original idea. So I'm pretty okay with that. And this is why I'm recording these, so if I do like this idea, I can do it again. Alright, one. Kinda wish I had had just slightly more time. I might start these slightly earlier next time. It's hard to gauge because you want it to be thick enough that you're not going to have issues later, but you do also not turn solid before you're done. I couldn't tell if this was on the right way because the resin's so thick that it was actually resisting me. So for once I am going to push down quite hard, which is something you may have noticed I keep recommending you don't do. Alright, these will either be good or they won't. If these turn out the way they're supposed to, they should be quite good. If they don't, well, fuck. But no time to turn the stream off, because these gotta get pressurized right the fuck now. Enjoy nothing. Boy, fucking. Alright, gotta wash a bunch of chemicals off my hands. Yip-de-yay. Didn't die though. Good start, good start. Trying to remember where OBS even is. There it is. Goodbye, literally nobody. I think these guys are gonna be cool. More of a Tutti Frutti than a Fire Galaxy, but glad I did it. I think this will be nice. I think these will be nice. How do I turn my fucking stream off?